this wild and wonderful world of SEO, because it's, it gets thrown around all the time. Ultimately, if you can summarize in the fewest words possible, what is SEO?
Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you for the warm introduction, and thank you, Steve and Swarni, for joining in. Now, I'll summarize it in the shortest possible words. Focus on your user. Am I allowed to swear on this, Cheryl?
Of course.
Just a little bit. Okay. Steve's like, yes, go ahead.
Get your message across.
The answer to this is, you should not care about Google. Fuck Google. Focus on your user. Focus on your story. Tell them why you. I've got that as a misconception listed, and I'm going to be talking a lot more about it. It's about you as a business, as an individual, the people behind the business. That's it. Nothing else. That's what you need to. And there is a lot of blurred lines. People go into execution. People go into a lot of stuff like, okay, do this, quick fixes and stuff like that. Take a step back. Think about it from your business from a bird eye point of view, and then focus on your actual customer. And then you will have absolutely no issues when it comes to SEO. Some technical fixes, all of those things that are easy. That stuff is not hard. There's only two things that make most SEO campaigns fail: is people forget about the user and people forget about building backlinks. That's it.
So, Pulkit, when we talk about SEO, what is it? Like, when I say what is it the pictures? Is it the content? Is it the words? Because SEO is very, again, I said very sort of airy-fairy. I'm not really sure what that means. Like, what, I guess in terms of the our audience here, what is the practical thing that I need to do to be better at my SEO?
So the answer to that is, it's everything that you mentioned plus a lot more. Why? Because if you have a website that ranks really well, but it's full of blobs of text, then it's like somebody has actually vomited on the website. Nobody's interested in reading it. So it's a combination of your content. It's a combination of the images. Depending on the industry that you're working in, it may also be video content, which also ranks well in YouTube and other platforms that you may want to use. So it's a combination of everything. The ultimate objective where people lose or people leave money on the table is when they don't use lead magnets. We don't live in a generation, we do not live in a generation where we walk into stores, in this case, websites, we click, we buy, we're out. We don't live in that generation anymore. We're spending more time researching, we're spending more time reading about it. We are arming ourselves with additional information. And once we are ready, it's good to go. Like I see a lot of them with, they put a lot of blogs out, they put a lot of content out, and which is great. You have all of this information. Creating one piece of blog content, how many hours of time, effort, energy, whatever it is, I don't know. You can work that out. So you've invested that time, effort, and energy in the hope of somebody reading it. Then why are you leaving money on the table? Put a lead magnet in, grab their email address so they can go in your funnel. So whenever they are ready, they have not forgotten about you. I've got a very classic prop, and what I do is I'm holding something in my hand. Can you tell me what it is?
It's a pen.
No, I changed it to my phone. So the reason why I changed it is because I know you saw the pen, but why you couldn't guess it, because you didn't have any visibility on it.
Yeah. Okay.
And I talk to a lot of businesses. They say, we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this. All of that is great. That's fine. But Google's not calling you. Google's not going on a one-on-one call with you.
My question, when we are just talking about lead magnets for now, just very quickly, does your lead magnet, does it need to be on a landing page that is on your website, or can that landing page be on, say if you had a CRM, for example, and you can build landing pages on CRMs that are not linked to your website? Is there any pros and cons about doing that?
Okay, so if you build a separate landing page, then if it is not tied to your website, then there is no benefit SEO benefit coming out of it.
Okay, but even though that landing page is hidden from
Yeah.
public, so there's still a benefit in terms of linking your landing page to your website, even though it's hidden from public view.
Okay, so the variation is actually what you're mentioning is a very common strategy used for Google Ads, but it is not a strategy for SEO, because when it comes to SEO, the pages need to be visible. The people should be able to find it.
Yes.
So visibility, yes, it's important. You need to have it there. Apart from that, there is really no reason why you should, you will not get any benefit out of it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's start to understand SEO, and I think mainly what we're trying to achieve from today is some actionable things, some simple actionable things that we can take away so that we can look at our website, number one, number two, possibly blog, number three, possibly a lead magnet. So we want our audience to be able to take something solid away from this, so they take in action in terms of improving the performance of the SEO.
Sure. Now, I will answer. Thank you, Cheryl. I will answer all these three things, although they are not a part of my presentation, but I will answer all of these three things because the 10 misconceptions, I think they're super important when it comes to having an understanding of the outcome of the process, as opposed to really understanding what SEO is. I mean, just because everybody else is doing it doesn't matter that you also jump on the bandwagon. It's also about understanding the outcome, what's on the other side.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's start with the top misconceptions about SEO, and that will give us some better understanding about what we're dealing with here. And
Sure.
If anyone has any questions along the way, please feel free to pop it in the chat box on the right. And Pulkit, would you prefer questions along the way or questions at the end?
Along the way, all the time. I will have a dedicated Q&A towards the end, but questions along the way. I like to finish off topics before I move on to the next one.
All right, awesome.
So I believe everybody should be able to see my screen. Perfect. So let's keep tracking. Obviously, this is the topic of the webinar today. And before we begin, UR Digital acknowledges the traditional owners of lands and waters this webinar is run on. Just a little bit about, if you have not heard about ourselves, we are a digital marketing agency. We focus on just SEO. And if your customers can search it, we can most likely optimize it. So it's either any platform, be it Google, Microsoft Bing, Yandex, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, YouTube, doesn't matter. We can take care of that. What we do, we've got two models. One of them is a done-for-you model. The other one's a consulting model. Done for you is where you pay the money and forget about it. Consulting is where you pay the money, but you're doing the work. Now, this is a very small list of some of the customers that we work with. I hope you may have interacted or used some of them. Maybe not. Just a little bit about myself. I have been in the SEO game for over 17 years, qualified as a network engineer. I build my own drones, and on the weekend, I play Monopoly with my family. A judge for the Top 50 Small Business Leader 2024, Australian Marketing Institute, Certified Practicing Marketer, was named Top 50 Small Business Leader in 2022 and Top 20 Australian Digital Marketer, and advisor for the federal government-funded Digital Solutions Program, a guest author at Inside Small Business, SEMrussianentrepreneur.com, and I also volunteer my time at the World Literacy Foundation. Jot down any questions you may have for me in the Q&A box. I will come back to it periodically. I've got two screens, both of them I'm using. And if you like something, use emojis to raise your hand. If you don't like it, either keep it to yourself or send me a private email. Just feel free to write whatever you feel like. All right, so the first misconception is that SEO does not work. What are you really wanting to get out of SEO? Are you wanting to generate leads? Are you wanting to generate visibility? What is the ultimate objective of getting SEO done? I'll give you a couple of examples. Let's take, for example, Microsoft. They don't want any leads. Their business is well known enough. They've got enough customers. And the reason why they do SEO and why it becomes important for them is because when somebody is searching for Microsoft, then they are obviously the number one result. They want to be the number one result for it. They don't want their competitors to take up the space. It's perfectly legal for somebody to rank, for your competitor to rank for your brand name. There's nothing wrong with it. Unless you have a trademark and trademark on your brand name, then we are moving into a different territory. But the other thing with SERP or Google is, or even Microsoft Bing as a search engine, they show 4 ads at the top and then the organic results. Depending on your search query, the organic results could be pushed even further down. For some cases, say for example, if you're using a structured data or if you've got a featured snippet, then the organic results from on Google are really, you essentially have, it's in the second fold most likely. Second fold is where a user has moved on to the next steps, next page, or used a one finger swipe up, and the next page they say is called the second fold. Where SEO does work is if you are really focused on your user and if you are focused on the topic. Now, this is where this is a misconception in itself, which is people focus on keywords or businesses focus on keywords, but Google wants topics. So every industry, now I'm going to pick on you, Steve, if I may, that you're a buyer. You mentioned earlier that you're a buyer's agent. So buyer's agent is a topic. It is a business. It's a topic. There are hundreds of things. So you may want to think about, say, for example, in a customer's or an investor's or an individual's buying journey, eventually they may need a buyer's agent. Along with that, they'll also need a conveyancer. They may also need additional services. All of those services collectively help a user make a purchasing decision. How about finance? What are the pitfalls? Everything, all of those things combined, they together form what is called a buyer's agent. And if you're not focused on providing that holistic information, SEO will never work for you. It does mean that you may have to create a lot of content on your website, but that content will always help. If you look at the top 10 results for the keyword that you want to rank for, have a look at their website and spend a good quality time on the top 10 results, because those top 10 results are what Google believes is the best match for a user's search term. Have a look at the organic ones. Don't look at the advertisements. Look at the whole, look at the bigger picture, and you will have a very deep understanding of why these websites work and why this website does not work.
Pulkit, would it be helpful, and Steve, I hope you don't mind putting you on the spot, would it be helpful to have a quick look at Steve's website?
If Steve is happy with it, I'm happy to look at it.
Well, it's not much to look at, but anyway.
Is that Roland?
I'm terrible with the technical side of it. I wouldn't even know how to put content and all that on it. You know what I mean? So you can have a look. By all means, it's called Roland Buyers Agency. ROLAND.
We can look at Steve's and then we can do another search for, I'm assuming you were saying if someone puts in Cairns buyer's agent,
yeah,
someone else will pop up.
I just did that and mine is nowhere to be seen because I've got no idea basically.
Sure.
It makes me angry because it feels like a bridge too far, all that stuff. I don't know.
All right. Okay, so my first suggestion straight away, Steve, would be see this background image. This makes some of the text very difficult for me to read. And what Google does is Google uses image recognition technology and puts an overlay of the text that you have and tries to mimic the user, how good a user can actually read it or not. That's one thing. It says finding your ideal Cannes home. Do you want me to be honest or brutally honest?
I go for it, mate.
Okay. So this I find it
Brutally.
This I find it really very confusing. What does that actually mean? If you would ask me, I would put it simply like this, and this is the most punchiest statement that you should probably have. And we call it in our when we are working with our clients, we call it KISS, 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 which is keep it simple, stupid. You're a buyer's agent based in Cairns. We'll help you invest in Cairns. If your capital growth is not guaranteed within first month, our fee will be returned. Sign up.
So Phuket is what you're saying, because I'm looking at it is going, it's very pretty. It's got trees. I'm feeling the Cairns warmth there. Finding your ideal home, because your ideal Cairns home. So I'm assuming there, Steve's thinking that's what I do, right? But what you're saying is that there's a few more tangible things that we need to add. So you mentioned something about finding. Can you just quickly summarize what you said before?
Yeah,
there's a few extra things that you mentioned about finding it within a certain time or something like that.
Yeah. So, and that is a statement that I picked up from his website. It says our fee is returned in the first month in capital if capital growth isn't guaranteed. So we are a buyer's agent based in Cairns or local to Cairns, whatever way it works. Buyer's agent based in Cairns, local in Cairns, will help you invest in Cairns. Our fees will be returned if capital growth is not guaranteed within the first month.
So is it expected that words to that effect is in that top fold? That's considered the top fold, right?
Absolutely. And see, what happens is, Steve is a buyer's agent. Steve knows Steve is a buyer's agent. The point is, somebody lands onto a website, you need to take it from a third person's view who has no idea about your business. Your website should be able to function for a 12-year-old. Plain and simple. That's the language.
Oh, okay. So when you say finding your ideal Cairns home, could someone look at it and go, I'm confused whether you're a real estate agent. I'm confused as to whether you're I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It does say buyer's agent, but you're right. The background is a little bit like on the screen now. It's a bit hard to see. On the website, I can see it, but because there's so much of that white and blue, it doesn't stand out as much. So would it be safe for something like this? Because you mentioned SEO and even photos and pictures have an impact on SEO. Is it more so around creating, like putting a different? Well, you can put a different photo, and then have less imagery behind the words.
So there are a couple of things that you can do. You can actually wash this image out a little bit, number one, or use a different text color so that it's prominent, because given the number of colors in the background, maybe washing out this image a little bit might really help, and having a different font color will absolutely help in making that clearly. And because the other reason why this will not pass is because for a very little known feature that people don't spend time on is accessibility. So people who are, think about this, that people who have visual impairments, so this wouldn't pass the W3C standards, this wouldn't pass the accessibility test. So holistically, think about this person. Google doesn't know on the other side, the person who is doing the search, are they visually impaired or not? And that's when the accessibility test is very important. It's a W3 standards or World Wide Web standards for building websites. And accessibility is one of the tests that websites need to pass.
Okay. So it could well be, Steve, who does your website? Do you update it, or do you have a website person?
I don't do anything with it. I got it looked at about, I don't know, 6 months ago. I paid for someone to look at it, and this is what we ended up with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that was from the original web builder. It was doing nothing. So then I went to someone else here in Cairns, and this is what we've ended up with. So I'm just more confused than ever, because every time someone looks at it, they say, do this, do that. I'm just spinning around in circles about it, to be honest.
So the best thing that I can tell you is
No clarity on it, and you've just confused me more than ever. So anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
The best thing that I can tell you is if it
Put it in the bin.
Sorry?
Put it in the bin.
No, I wouldn't say that. A perfect website does not exist. A perfect website does not exist.
But it's far from that, isn't it?
Oh, I wouldn't say that either. It really depends. Now, the point is, you don't have to like it. It's about your customers.
Oh, yeah. I understand that, but you know what I mean? I've put a fair bit of money into it, and it doesn't even come up when you search for it. What the hell is that? Someone should be held accountable for that. But anyway,
should we look at what website comes up? Do you mind if we do that, and then we can have a bit of a look and identify what a high-ranking SEO
I know which one my competitors will come up. But anyway,
yeah.
So the first one that comes up is FNQ buyer's agent.
Correct.
Okay, so they obviously the number one thing that they've done is they've got a lot of content in there. This is the lead magnet they're using, one to free suburb report. They also have a sample report for a property in Smithfield. They've got their Google reviews in there. So what these Google reviews are doing is all the stuff that people are writing, they are leveraging it on their website because this content is being pulled from Google. The other thing, relocating to Cairns, Townsville, or Port Douglas, read below. So obviously some of the stuff that they have mentioned, and it may either be an internal link or an external link. Yeah, so it's an external link on their website. What is a buyer's agent? What does a buyer's agent actually do? The services they offer. Auction bidding service. So some of them, they have incorporated some of the keywords directly in there, and it keeps on shuffling. So say for example, auction bidding service. That's an internal link that goes on to their auction bidding service. Same goes for inspection and negotiation service. And the other one is for buyer's agent full service.
So I look at this website, and from an aesthetic point of view, and it's, again, sort of just if we were comparing, I look at Steve's website and I go, Steve's website looks quite pretty.
Yeah.
Right. So this is me. It presents quite well. It doesn't look too messy, or whichever. However, it doesn't have as much content as this website does. But if we look at the very, very top as well, if we wanted to compare, if you go up to the very top, all right. So here, as you mentioned there, this is a photo similar to what you've got, Steve. However, this one's whitewashed. Is that right? Is it whitewashed?
It is whitewashed, yeah.
Yeah. So the text is coming up stronger, and it says Far North Queensland buyer's agent, your local buyer's agent in Cairns, which Steve does have some wording around that as well. So I dare say in this circumstance, and correct me if I'm wrong, Pulkit, it's less about the message that's on Steve's top fold, because it seems like it's got the right words. I'd say maybe the imagery can be faded a little bit so that whitewash, but it seems like there's the fact that there's actually more content overall on the website, which is refreshing the website consistently. Is
Yeah.
that a good summary of that?
Yes, that's absolutely fine. And some of using Steve's own content, you could use something like this.
So Steve, if you want to do any updates on your website, who would you get to do that? Say if you had to change a button or the colors or whatever, is the person that built it, are they offering do they offer ongoing support?
Yes.
Okay. So you can put together a small list of things to say, can you do this, this, and this?
I can, yes.
Yeah, awesome.
But I wouldn't know where to start. So
No. And I guess there's a few things here that, hopefully you can take away and be able to say, hey, we need to tweak this, this, and this. I mentioned we want you to be able to go away with some actionable items. We will help you find your ideal. Do you focus purely on owner-occupier or investors as well?
no, I've just started focusing on Cairns. I was the other way around. I've bought about 120 properties all across the country because I was just buying in growth areas.
Yes.
Using data purely and simply. So
Okay.
now I've started doing owner ox here in Cairns for the last 6 months or so.
Thanks, Swani. Appreciate you dropping by. We'll send you a recording. Okay, so did you say it's mainly owner occupiers, but you're also dealing with investors?
Well, I've got all my ex-clients that are coming back, wanting a second, third, fourth property. So I'm still doing investment properties and I'm doing owner ox here primarily here in Cairns. So I'm doing both.
Okay. So with that in mind, Pulkit, what would you suggest?
100%. I mean, then with this newfound information, that information Google doesn't know about. What Steve just mentioned, Google doesn't know about. It's all about visibility. So if Google doesn't know what Steve does, Google cannot rank Steve for that.
So how do we let Google know what Steve does? Like what does that mean in terms of where do we stick this content? Is it in the blog? Is it as part of the, say for example, it's, if you scroll down to midway of his website, it talks a little bit about Steve. It doesn't say he's bought over 120 properties across Australia and what he's helped. It doesn't really say how he's helped his clients build wealth through property, which I think would be helpful.
Yeah.
So what aspect of what he has said should be included and how?
Sure. So in that case, an ideal customer's purchasing journey or a customer funnel essentially comes with 3 stages. One of them is a tofu, mofu, and bofu, which is top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and bottom of the funnel. Your top of the funnel and middle of the funnel content stays within the blog. Your bottom of the funnel content is your actual primary pages on your website, which are highly converting pages. So that tofu and mofu content brings in the visitors, and bofu content converts them into paying customers.
Okay, so top of the funnel, I guess, in terms of putting it in simple words, it's the things that people look for. Yeah. So if someone was to look for Steve, and if someone was to look for you, what would be the words that they put in place? Buyer's agent Cairns.
Okay, so I'm sitting in Sydney and I've done a search for buyer's agent Cairns. This is the best way to find. See this people also ask section. This is the best way for somebody to find the tofu content. Is buyer's agent worth the money? This is actually middle of the funnel content. And why? Because they have decided that they want to purchase a property. They are in the process of purchasing a property, but they're unsure whether they should consider a buyer's agent or not. So this is the middle of the funnel content. Having a blog post, why buyer's agents are worth the money investment, or why buyer's agents are worth the investment. This is Google telling you you create this content because that is coming up in the people also ask section. The benefit of or the stuff that people don't know is when you click on one of them, which is relevant to you, what you will start to see is Google will auto-populate 2 new questions based on your selection. So if I open this and if I close it, I will have what is a buyer's agent most commonly compensated by? That's a great question from a buyer's agent's perspective, from a customer's perspective, because that's again adding holistic information.
So are you saying that having a whole lot of different blogs, for example, that Steve can add to his website, will help bump him up? Because at the moment, Steve, when was the last time you updated your website with any content?
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. My daughter had a play of it just to change a few things. I don't know if you call that updating. I don't know, but she changed a few things around because she knows how to do a little bit in the back end, but that technical side of it, I haven't learnt it, so I don't know how to do it. So,
Okay. Yeah. So Toolkit, in that situation where we're adding content to websites, like is there a sweet spot in terms of the frequency of updating the website or adding content to the website?
No, there is no sweet spot. The sweet spot is there are 2 considerations that one should keep in mind. It's consistency and select a schedule which you can keep. So if you can only do once a month, do once a month. If you can do once a week, do once a week. You don't have to invent content. Use Google as a research medium to identify what's happening in the industry, how buyers are changing, because depending on the buyer's search term, their search interests also change. Use that, select a time frame that is suitable to you, but keep up to that time frame. And to answer your question, Steve, your website's built on WordPress. So if you go into log into the WordPress backend, click on posts, add new post, that's your blog post done then and there. You basically have to add content, images, and you're done.
I see as well, Steve does a lot of videos. So he's got quite a few Instagram videos. Do you have a YouTube as well, Steve?
no.
So it's mainly you've got Instagram content. There's some Instagram content there. Do you have a Google My Business account?
No.
So are people able to leave reviews about how you've helped them and things like that?
Not sure.
Well,
I haven't covered that yet. I don't know. So many things. I just can't keep up with all the different things, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is why,
basically.
This is why I guess, being able to, and I can understand sometimes it is tricky. You go, I've paid people to do this and they haven't, I look at you've bought 120 properties, and I'm sure, well, you've got clients who are coming back for their 3rd, 4th, 5th property. So you've obviously done something right. But you don't have a Google My Business, which is one of the key things as well. Again, Pulkit, correct me if I'm wrong. That really would help in terms of your rankings also.
I've got plenty of testimonials that they've written me as emails. Plenty of them.
Pulkit, what is the weight of Google My Business with a website like Roland's?
Okay, so the approximate weight is about 20 to 25%.
Mm-hmm.
Now highlighted something on your screen.
Roland Buyers Agency, where the Google My Business would go. Is that what you were highlighting?
Yeah, so is your phone number, Steve, 0418986989?
Correct.
That's it. Google already knows about you. All you have to do is claim it in.
All I have to do is what?
You will have to claim this profile. It says Roland Buyers Agency. The category is probably not right. It says real estate school. So that's wrong. Obviously, there is a phone number. So what you will need to do is you will need to claim your Google business profile or Google My Business as it is called now.
And how would he do that?
Just go into Google business profile. I'm going to say it a little bit. So search for Google business profile. And then once you're logged in, search for Roland Buyers Agency. It will auto-populate. And once it auto-populates, all you have to do is claim this profile. Then you will need to go through a series of steps. And then they'll either send you a postcard verification to the address, or what they will do is they will sometimes can send you a code. So there are about 5-6 different methods. And a fairly straightforward process. The only thing that you need to consider is if you don't have a shop front, then establish your business as a service area business. Otherwise, people will knock on your home address.
All right, so I say one of the key action items to take away from this, Steve, is to set up a Google My Business account for Roland Buyers Agency.
Yeah.
And if you just went to Google and typed in Google My Business.
Straightforward. So it's called Google. You can do Google My Business, but it's actually called Google Business Profile. They changed the name a couple of years ago. And then you click on Sign In. Do a search for your business name, and then claim that profile. That's it.
But does he need a Google Gmail to do that, or
any account? It needs to be a Google account. So Google account is basically any account that he can use his work email address that can also be set up as a Google account, and his email address will remain the same. It doesn't have to be a Gmail.
Okay, so I'm assuming is all of this Google Business Profile new to you, Steve?
Correct.
So it might be that you need to sign in and create a new account to begin with. And then
I'm pretty sure I've got a Google account. I've got all passwords and that for one.
Cool.
It's just every time I try and do something on there, the password doesn't work or this doesn't work. Ask for this. No, that's not working. I don't know. I just sort of run in the walls all the time. But anyway, I could try again.
Yeah. See how you go with this. Google My Business reviews are going to be pretty important for just helping you with your search. As you see, we saw the FNQ website, and they had a whole lot of Google My Business reviews that were consistently loading on their website. But the first part of that, before you even get to that, is get a Google My Business review page. It does take a little while because they manually send out a postcard with a code to you. So it does take a few weeks to get that done. But once your Google My Business review page is live, you want to send out an email to all your clients to ask them to leave a review for you. Right? So once they start to do that, in the meantime, it could well, I guess you can't link your Google My Business review into your website until it's live, right, Coolkit?
No, you can't.
Okay, so the minute it goes live, ask your website person to add your Google My Business review. What's it called, Coolkit? The scroll?
A doom scroll.
Doom scroll?
Yeah.
As in doom and gloom?
Yeah. That as in doom and gloom, but for reviews. So it's a different name for a continuous scroll.
Yes, it keeps. Okay. So you can send an email to your website person to say, can you create a doom scroll for my Google My Business review? And they'll stick it into your website. And then you have to do that first before you send an email out to all your clients to say, hi, I'd love if you could leave a review for us so that we can continue to support other property investors like you in buying their properties as well. So there's a little bit of a process there, Steve. It will take a little bit of patience because you have to wait, but that is going to help your website rank better if you've got Google reviews. Number one. Number two is also more content.
Yeah. Super
More
important.
content. So how are you, Steve, in terms of writing content? Say blog content and things like that. Love it, hate it, never done it before.
I know. No, I've done a bit. Done a bit when I've done my posts and all that sort of thing. Yeah, I could do it if I had to.
You use ChatGPT, Steve?
Yes, I do. I do use it already, mate.
Now, if you want an insider tip, I'm happy to share couple of examples of really some of the stuff. Are you able to see my screen? Not sure. Let me zoom it in.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? All this stuff, I can't take it in and memorize it. Once I finish with you guys, it's all gone and it just goes straight out the back of my mind. You know what I mean? It's all gone.
You're getting the recording.
Oh, is it recorded? Oh, right. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yes, it's got a recording. And Steve, if you want to drop me your email, I'll send you a summary of the notes as well.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So you can do that.
Yeah, just put it in the chat, yeah?
Yes, please.
Where do I put that?
It's the second second little icon to the right where it says chat with everyone. And you can pop in your email there. Oh, yeah, Rafiq. Rafiq, I think you'll get a copy of the recording, the Fathom notes, if you can send it across to Steve as well. Thank you.
You should be looking at my screen, and these are some of the things that we use internally.
And here's the thing, Steve. A lot of this is understanding on a high level, but sometimes if you don't understand, and this is why we just need to ask the question, who do I need to use to help me with this? Because to be honest, I don't know SEO, right? So I've had to reach out to Poolkit to help me understand it, come up with a framework, and then I pass it over to my team to do it. So I make a lot of noise. I tell Poolkit what I do, and then he's given me a bit of homework to do and understand. And then I've gone, look, team, I've got some stuff for you to do, right? So don't feel, I think it's really, it's really important that your focus should be buying. It should be buying properties, right? And if any of this becomes like low priority, but it is something important. It may be low priority to you, but it's important to do. Ask yourself, who do I need to get to do this for me? Right, whoever it is, if it's your website person, if you want to meet with Poolkit or whichever, it's like, because I want you to go away from this to have some clear action items so that you can get through the frustration and at least see something from what you've invested, what you're doing.
Yeah.
Can I also add to that, Cheryl?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Steve, I'm really good at SEO, but outside I'm really good at SEO, but I suck at everything else. I'm a really bad buyer's agent. I'm a really bad systemizer. I'm a really bad everything.
Don't ask you about cooking, he said.
Yes, don't ask me about cooking. Yes, don't, please. I'm a bad cook. So you initially during the when you joined, you mentioned something that your website doesn't work for you, and you also want, like other buyer's agent, you want those leads to come in. You want those businesses to come in. On a couple of things that I would suggest is have a look at your CAC, or a customer acquisition cost. That's a very important figure. We get asked a lot of questions. What budgets should we have for the SEO process? And the first question that we ask them is, what is your customer acquisition cost, and what does average customer value is for your business. So if you're really willing to, if a customer spends $50,000 or $20,000 with you, are you willing to spend $1,000 to acquire them? If yes, to acquire that customer, a customer acquisition cost is very important, because that gets defined into different marketing channels. As I mentioned earlier, you and again, where does your audience hang out? Where those customers, those 120 properties that you purchased, what age brackets do these people hang out on? What do they do online? Understanding of these processes will really help you. Like, say, for example, you do a lot of Instagram. I don't personally, I'm a man, I don't use Instagram. I'm completely Facebook. I'm 43. My wife, I can't get her off Instagram. She's not on Facebook. I can't get her off. So it's two different personalities, same age groups, two different types of people. So it's all about where your audience is hanging out as well. Same goes for Google as well.
So in terms of what are the possible options for Steve, next steps for him?
Yeah.
What are the next steps for him? Because it in his mind, he's going, I've invested a lot of money into my website. It's not really doing that much.
Yeah.
That's where I got to. Sorry, can I interrupt? I
Yeah,
basically said, like, this much of a budget for my website. I got it done, got up and running, and then all these so-called professionals just didn't tell me that I had to do this, and this to keep it going and all that. So then I thought, well, I'll let it go. I'm going to get on with more productive, what would you say, processes and actions for my business. That's why it's just sat there stagnant, doing nothing, where I thought it was doing something. You know what I mean? It's just very disappointing.
Yeah.
And Phuket, I guess, the thing is, and again, correct me if I'm wrong there, with websites, if you do want it to be doing anything on Google, any sort of ranking, action needs to be happening in the website.
Yeah.
So then for you, Steve, it's a question of where does it sit in my order of priorities that I want my website from my marketing perspective to be doing really well? Or are you okay to go, I'm happy for the website to just be something that I send people to, and I want to focus more of my time and energy on this, right? So it is going to be a matter of either prioritizing. If you want to do it yourself, then I get a sense you don't really want to, and you don't have an interest in it, nor the skill. And I'm the same. But then go, all right, well, if I want to prioritize it, who am I going to get to keep my website up to date?
To be honest, I would do it. It's just that I haven't been taught or anything, and I'm just really angry with the whole thing, to be honest. It's really peeved me off when a lot of my other processes are so much more rewarding. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll answer that question for you, Steve. The reason why that happens, and usually my unknown in the industry, is when I get involved, most web developers get fired. So what I'm trying to say here is web developers, they do it, sometimes they do it on purpose, because they just want to lock you in to keep on paying more and more and more and more money. I have seen really bad examples. I've seen people spending $400 a month for hosting services with a small vendor, which they have trusted over the years. Essentially, the whole process should really cost you less than $100 annually, and they're spending $400 a month. This is daylight robbery in my eyes, to be very honest with you.
Yes.
So, and I'm not in the business of taking down other people's business models, but web developers are not SEOs. They're not social media. They're not a buyer's agent. They're not a cook. They're not Cheryl. They're web developers.
Yes.
And there is a vested interest. Every business has a vested interest. They want to lock you in for as long as possible.
Yeah. But I mean, again, it's, Steve, I know you mentioned that you wouldn't mind spending that time on it, but the question is, are you the best person to do it as well?
Oh yeah, I doubt it. Yeah, I doubt it.
And whether that is the best use of your time also, because you're a buyer's agent and you're good at that. right?
I'm
So
about leads and buying property. That's what I'm about.
yeah, absolutely. And so I guess you've got a few options here. I'm sort of conscious of time. And then Phuket, apologies, I totally railroaded your your presentation. But you know, I think Steve is a good example.
I'm part of the blame for that.
No, not at all, Steve, because the frustration that you're feeling is what I'd say 98% of people are.
Yeah.
Because we get told to create websites, and then all these web developers are there creating pretty websites.
Exactly.
But what are the websites doing?
Yeah.
And again, you know, I'm happy that this conversation went this way is because we were able to cover a lot of misconceptions which I hadn't covered. And again, I'm conscious of time, so I really have those 3 questions that you mentioned. But my only piece of advice is to you, Steve, if you believe Google is a medium where you can generate those leads and customers, then unfortunately it does require some investment. When I say investment, it means time, and time is money. Be it you invest it or somebody else invest and you pay them, that's a different story. I wouldn't say please don't hit the nuclear button and start from scratch, because a perfect website does not exist. It's always a work in progress. Don't hit the nuclear button. There's no need to be deflated about it. Whatever's done is done. Take a step back, think about it from your customer's point of view, and update your website accordingly. And Google will reward you for all the work that you put in.
I've heard another SEO, like I've had advice from another SEO guy here in Cairns, reckons get rid of the website, start again.
No.
Yeah, and you know what I mean? I'm just so confused with it all. I get all this conflicting information.
Yeah. No, it's there is nothing that cannot be fixed.
Yeah.
You don't have to pull out you don't pull out nuclear weapons in a fist fight.
Yes. Good analogy.
It's gonna save you a little bit if you don't have to create I don't see you having to create a brand new website. The essence of it is there. Yeah. You could do with maybe another 1 or 2 pages for a blog, or like I said, Google My Business Review. But if there's anything to take away from this, which you don't have to get someone else to do, is set up your Google My Business Review as a number 1. And then get that Google My Business. Once you've got that set up, get your website person to put it in your website. And then 3, get people to leave reviews for you. That is going to be the first thing. And then blogs as well, if you want to add blogs to the website.
And the best way that I can tell you with the blog, if you really want to see it, have a look at, and I'm going to put it in the chat box so that everyone has access to this. Have a look at this one, HubSpot blog, the best blog that exists on the planet. And the reason why I say this is not because of the content, but because of the way they have published information. On every blog that exists, there is a specific lead magnet attached to it. In some cases, 6 different times. 6 different times. Use ChatGPT to create an ebook. Use Canva to create a cover page. Create it as a downloadable PDF, and your lead magnets is done and done. People can start putting in straight away.
That's a really, really key thing, actually, Phuket. I've just written to Rafiq. Every blog should have a lead magnet.
What's a lead magnet?
I'll show it to you. How about that?
We're going to have to do another session on lead magnets.
No, that's okay.
No,
Sorry.
No. But then it's good. It gives us content to create these business maximizer sessions for Steve.
So this is a blog on HubSpot blogs website. So what is the sales planning? Click on anyone. I don't care. So first lead magnet, download now, free sales plan template. Second lead magnet right here. Third lead magnet right here. Fourth lead magnet right here. So
lead magnet freebies, checklist. When you go to Facebook and they say download this 5-step guide to being the best buyer's agents today. Yeah.
It is pre-sales plan template. Another lead magnet. So that's an example. So you give them something in exchange of the information that you have spent time and energy creating. In exchange, they are supposed to give you an email address. If I click on this, what it does, give me your email address and your template is with you. So that's a lead magnet. Don't leave money on the table by not having a lead magnet on the blog.
Awesome.
So can I just ask you quickly? So a blog is just what? Information?
Yeah. And I'd like to show you two things. I know we are just finishing up, but I'm going to show you something very quickly. Let me pull that up on my screen, and that will summarize the whole lot for you. I've got that open somewhere here. Yeah, right here. So this is something that I share quite often. You should be able to see on my screen about now. Yeah. So focus on the benefits, solutions, and the pain points, and forget about the features. And then focus on this. So this is a customer sales for a buying journey. Now, this does not apply to people who have bought, who are in the process of buying the 4th or 5th property. But if they're looking at changing a buyer's agent, then they start from the top and they're falling into the middle of the bottom of the funnel.
Okay. Thank you.
That's it.
So, Steve, what are your action items and key things to take away from today's session?
I don't know. My website obviously needs a lot of improving and a lot of work. And I've got to Google my business profile, search for my website, and then I don't know, do something.
So search for your business name and then claim your profile.
Claim my profile.
Yeah. So when you search for your business name, it will tell you claim this business. And then you follow the prompts.
So what am I doing claiming my business?
Yeah. So basically, Google, what happens is, this is just a process for Google to verify that you are the owner of that business, so that it can share that information with you. Now,
Do you hate Google?
to me, or
Yeah.
without that, I'd have no money to feed my family. I'd probably be doing something else.
Tell you what, I'm starting to. They're like tyrants. Anyway.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've got on that line of front, I definitely have some very strong views about Google. But the point is,
you have to go along with it, don't you?
What is that? Sorry?
I'm saying you have to go along with them and their rules and their structure and so forth.
Even the governments have to follow their rules.
Yes.
So they've created these monoliths of corporations. We just again, there's one more thing I'll tell you: privacy is a myth.
Yes.
So, anyways, we won't go down that path of conversation. We'll spend a couple of more hours on it. My objective is, if your users, again, if your users are on Google, if you're looking at generating revenue from Google one way or the other, be it for branding, lead generation, or any other process, then think about, you will need to spend some time on your website.
Yep.
Please don't take out the nuclear missile in a fist fight. There is nothing that cannot be fixed, even with Google.
Thank you, Polkit. I appreciate it.
No problems at all.